I want to welcome you to the Investigate Building 7 conference. My name is Mike Derosa, and I am the Community Affairs Director here at WWUH 91.3 FM, and producer and host of the weekly New Focus program that's heard on 3 different stations here in Connecticut. Before we begin, I wanted to thank John Ramsey, our station manager, for his support in this effort, and our entire staff for their support and help in making this event possible. And special thanks to Cheryl and her 9/11 wake-up call, our local Investigate Building 7 committee, and the Building What organization and other organizations associated with them, and of course the University of Hartford for their courage, support, and foresight. Our topic today is to explore the inconvenient facts and mysteries behind the collapse of Building 7 on September 11, 2001. I want to commend you for coming here today to see for yourself the inconvenient evidence about the strange and unusual collapse of the Building 7 skyscape building in New York. Many people do not know that there was a third building that collapsed at the World Trade Center complex on 9/11, and that was, of course, Building 7. Building 7 was a 47-story steel-framed skyscraper that occupied a block adjacent to the World Trade Center complex, and that was 2 city blocks away from the nearest of the Twin Towers. The Building 7 collapse occurred, as you know, at 5:20 p.m. on 9/11. According to the government's official investigation, fires caused Building 7 to collapse. The inconvenient fact is that fire has never in the history of architecture, except on 9/11 at the World Trade Center complex, caused the total collapse of any steel frame high-rise building. Building 7 was not hit by an aircraft. Only a few small fires were taking place inside the building at the time of the collapse. The official investigation alleges that Building 7 was severely damaged by large pieces of steel ejected from the North Tower, but there is no publicly verifiable evidence of this. Needless to say, Building 7 underwent a total collapse on 9/11/2001 in 6 to 7 seconds, that is, almost at free fall speed. Today, you will hear the testimony that you haven't heard and you may never hear on the corporate mass media, that raises fundamental questions about the official narrative of the Building 7 collapse. Today, the family members of the 9/11 tragedy, investigators, researchers, scientists, journalists, and others take an inside look at what really happened to Building 7 on 9/11. Many of you in this audience are also citizen investigators, witnesses, journalists, and just average citizens who have questions about these amazing events. So I think we ought to give ourselves a hand for the work that we are doing and the massive work ahead. The events of recent days and the events of the last 10 years show that the 9/11 narrative, or language game, has changed our nation forever. I would like to suggest that there is a connection between these events and the loss of our civil liberties, our continuous and endless wars, our economic collapse, and the redacting and destruction of our Constitution and the rule of law. I believe this 9/11 official narrative or official language game must be studied and can be more accurately reframed and revised when the truth comes out. Today, and by the way, the truth will come out. Today, our speakers will tell you about the science, the missing details and stories, the history, the crucial other evidence, actually the best evidence, for the collapse of this building. This information has been hidden and suppressed by the official investigations. By getting this information and this evidence out to our nation, we move closer to reopening this case and empowering a real investigation of these events. I would like to suggest that all language games or narratives have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Then a new language game can be created. I would assert that today's proceedings and the beginning of a more honest, a more accurate, a more evidence-based language game that attempts to uncover the inconvenient facts about what happened on 9/11, starting with the greatest anomaly and mystery of that day, the collapse of Building 7 at 5:20 p.m. on September 11, 2001. So thank you for coming today. You are a vital part of this important event, and hopefully you will encourage a new and more accurate evidence-based investigation about what really happened to our country on September 11, 2001, and how we can stop it from happening again. Now I want to introduce Cheryl, who will give you a complete rundown on how our Investigate Building 7 conference is structured and how our day is planned. Cheryl? Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Oops. Morning, everyone. Great to see you all here. Put that there. So I just want to give you a little background about our 9/11 Truth Group in Connecticut that planned this event. We started back in August talking about it, and we're really slow about things. And finally in December, things started to pick up. And then we actually got involved with the Building What campaign and decided to co-sponsor an event. And I'm so proud to be connected to this group of people, the Building What people, and also our committee here. And I wanted to give them some thanks, our committee members. So when I call your name, would you please stand up so people can really see who you are and appreciate what you've done? And if you're already standing, just kind of wave to them. So I'd like to say Damon Bean. Mike Derosa, who you've just met. Joanne Bauer, who's not here at the moment. Gary Fox, who's in the back taping. Mike Smith, who I haven't seen yet. Mike, are you here yet? No, not yet. Okay. Jessica Lee, she's not here yet. Wayne Costi. Wayne, in the back there. Ira Brous. Ira, who's a professor here at the University of Hartford. Okay. Vinny Rossi. Vinny, are you around? Vinny's over there. Okay, great. Laura Sykes. Laura, back there. Okay. Frank Telepko. And I also want to thank Albert Marceau, who went all over New England postering for us, for the event. So thank you, Albert. Okay. And then, of course, I want to thank Ted Walter, who's not here today, but is with the Building What campaign and did many, many hours of work on this event. We owe him a great deal of thanks. And it was such a great experience working on this event because people were so energized and just wanted to help us. It was kind of amazing. And so I want to thank the guys in the back who jumped in last week and said, we're going to help you with the AV. And I'm like, oh, good, because I know nothing about that. And so I want to thank John Holder, who's back there, who jumped in to help us. And John Schwenk. And Norbert Rikosowitz. Okay, who jumped in to help. They met several times with the AV guy who works here, Mike Bernard. Thank you, Mike, also. They worked it all out, and they're giving up a whole 12 hours today on a Saturday to film for us. That's really great, so thank you so much. And I know John Bolish from the Manchester Cable Access is taping back there. Thank you, John, for covering that. And if I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. We'll catch you later. Okay, so we had a really great group working on this. and this is what we're getting today, so I think you're going to have a great day. I hope you can stay for most of the day. Just a few housekeeping items. The restrooms, if you go straight back through the lobby to the end of the hallway and take a right, they're there on the right. There's also some downstairs, but they're harder to find. If you're staying for lunch or dinner, we're having that at the Commons on the university. It's a cafeteria buffet style across campus. It's $8.50 for lunch and $10 for dinner. So I recommend that. There's not a whole lot of places around here to go to in a short distance. And also, several of our wonderful speakers have written books, and their books are for sale in the lobby. I hope you'll check those out. And since this is a conference on Building 7, we also thought it would be good to have David Ray Griffin's book here, which is The Mysterious Collapse of World Trade Center 7, Why the Final Official Report is Unscientific and False. So that's a really good one to read. Also, we have a French film crew here today. They're going to be making a documentary on 9/11 for primetime French TV. So, isn't that great? And I'm told they may want to interview some of you, so that sounds like a great thing to be part of. So anyway, we've come together today, so we need a new investigation into the World Trade Center Building 7, and we want the New York City Council to hold an independent investigation, so that's why we're here demanding that. And why do we need this new investigation? Well, for starters, the 9/11 Commission report didn't mention it. It's in one footnote in this volume, but it's supposed to be the complete and final story of what happened that day, and they don't mention it. So that tells you something about the credibility of this document, doesn't it? So, okay. Okay. So our panel of experts will go into great detail today in making a case for the need for the investigation. They'll be coming right after lunch. And their presentation of the compelling evidence will be followed by our distinguished media panel. And hopefully they can help us to understand why the corporate media hasn't told us, for example, that the FBI has said that they don't have Osama bin Laden wanted for 9/11 because they don't have any solid evidence connecting him to the crime. Now, I would think that would be really a news story, wouldn't you? They don't tell us about that. Or perhaps they can clarify why the corporate media has told us next to nothing about Building 7. In fact, they have told us so little about it that the judge who presided over the ballot initiative efforts in New York City responded when he heard Building 7 with, "Building what?" So I hope you'll stay with us through the evening presentation by architect Richard Gage, founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. The research he's done and the scientific evidence he presents is so solid that if you're new to all of this, it will alter your way of thinking about the collapse of the World Trade Center towers and Building 7, and it will probably alter your life. So stick around for that. I've been questioning 9/11 for about 9 years now, and Building 7 is truly the biggest mystery of them all. So today, the Building What campaign is kicking off their second round of TV ads, and you're going to be the first to see it here on the stage. And they're also, I understand, changing their name to Remember Building 7, so just so you know that. And so you're going to be part of making history here this morning when they unveil that new video, new 30-minute ad. 30 seconds, sorry. 30 minutes would be way too long. Okay. In my opinion, the most courageous people seeking the truth about Building 7 are the victims' family members, and we have them here speaking this morning. And we're going to start the conference with them sharing their personal stories.